Coming up tonight, officials are awaiting testing on a cargo ship worker with COVID-19 symptoms. The head of the police union insists members of the public need not fear officers. Meanwhile, the family of a missing man makes an emotional plea, and we've got another segment of Fit Friday.
Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Jared Higgs. Topping news tonight. A cargo ship worker who was transported to New Providence from Exuma yesterday afternoon with COVID-19 symptoms is awaiting testing, according to Deputy Chief Medical Officer Dr. Delon Brennan. Brennan added that no residents were exposed to the patient. When pressed on the matter, Brennan said that was all the information he had. Addressing the matter, Exuma's MP Chester Cooper said local officials advised him that there was no other interaction with the patient other than trained medical officials, adding that no other passenger from that cargo vessel was allowed to disembark. He added it is unknown if the patient is COVID positive or if he suffers from another illness. Cooper said he is awaiting a formal briefing from health officials. Our News understands the patient is a 33-year-old man who works on a cargo ship that services the Caribbean. Director of Operations for Air Ambulance Service, Jason Sweeting, the company used to transport the patient, said he was transported to the capital in a patient isolation unit. He added the emergency flight arrived on New Providence around 5 p.m. Thursday. To date, there have been 104 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the Bahamas, 82 on New Providence, 13 on Bimini, 8 on Grand Bahama, and 1 on Cat Key. 11 persons have died from the virus. There are currently 19 active COVID-19 cases in the country. Meanwhile, Police Commissioner Paul Roll addressing the heightened level of scrutiny officers face in the modern era. Speaking to a class of incoming recruits, Roll told the new officers that people are starting to question the role and relevance of police. He says the prevalence of social media means their actions will be judged at a higher standard than before. Roll's comments come amid widespread protests against police brutality in the United States. It also comes on the heels of a police-involved shooting that raised questions over the lack of independence in investigations into such matters. National Security Minister Marvin Dames had a similar message for the new recruits, advising them to carefully observe use of force protocols. Meanwhile, head of the Police Staff Association, Sonny Miller, said the public has nothing to worry about. Jillian Gray has more.
Police Staff Association President Sonny Miller said the public has nothing to fear as it relates to interacting with officers. His comments come as a triple police-involved shooting has some residents questioning the actions of officers.
I don't run, I don't hide from them, but those 1 or 2 bad apples, we at the association don't condone them, don't encourage them. It is our job if they do something to ensure that the process that they go through is fair. Assist with legal assistance necessary, but we don't want them. We don't want those bad apples, not in the organization and not around us.
Nearly a week ago, 3 men were fatally shot by police off Cowpen Road. Miller said every police-involved shooting is investigated, and though they don't celebrate the act, there are instances when officers must discharge their firearm to keep either themselves or the public safe. He added that every officer will not be perfect, and at times investigations into these matters do result in an officer being reprimanded. Miller said the protocols involved in placing an officer back in the field after they've discharged their weapon is extensive.
After that, after incidents like that occur, what we do is those officers have to get psychiatric treatment, have to be reevaluated, retested with all the firearms, make sure they are headstrong and capable enough to go back out there to serve members of the public. So when you see an incident where an officer not just shoot someone or even not just take someone's life or even may have to discharge his firearm, there are protocols that officer must pass in order to go back out there.
As protests against police brutality continue to rage on in the United States and around the world, Miller said that is not a problem Bahamians have to worry about. Overall, he said complaints against officers have decreased. He chalked that up to their frequent training exercises.
There have been extensive training and retraining and recertification in firearm and and we have been trained in professionalism, how we treat members of the public. We had a whole lot of training going on within the organization. I think the commissioner will allude to that. He will outline the impact of that training, because we can say that the complaints and corruption numbers are down.
Minister of National Security Marvin Dames said body cameras for officers will be rolled out by August. It's a move Miller said the association supports. Reporting for our News, I'm Jillian Gray.
Thanks, Jillian. Well, following the admission by Tourism Minister Dionisio Diaghilew that government is still working out the kinks for international travel, two former FNM MPs are speaking out on the matter. Vaughan Miller says he's disappointed by that explanation just over a week before borders reopen. Berthany McDermott reports.
Former Free National Movement Member of Parliament Vaughan Miller expressing disappointment that government still hasn't worked out all the details for the reopening of the country's borders less than 2 weeks ahead of the July 1st date. On Thursday, Tourism Minister Dionisio Diaghilew said government is still working out issues surrounding the decision to reopen the country's borders to people who test negative for COVID-19.
That bothers me with some decisions that the government make. But certainly this is one of them that all during the pandemic should have been thinking, should have been looking at the options, and whatever option they would have chosen should have been well thought of. And so certainly I'm very disappointed to hear that. Extremely disappointed.
Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis ordered the closure of the country's borders in an attempt to curb the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. Today, there has been 104 confirmed cases. Last month, the Prime Minister made the announcement that borders will reopen on July 1st. Noting that there still isn't a permanent Minister of Health, Centerville MP Reece Chipman said this may affect the rolling out of procedures for the reopening.
Of course, you know, we do not have a Minister of Health as yet. And so I'm sure there are challenges in terms of governance and the administration of the reopening. What I do expect is that, even July 1st will in itself be pretty restrictive in terms of how we continue or how we move forward.
Still, both MPs say they support the reopening of the country's borders. Earlier this month, Minnis announced the closure of government's quarantine facility, noting that Bahamians and residents will no longer be required to quarantine upon returning home. Miller labeled this an unwise and premature decision, adding that he hopes it doesn't backfire on the government.
I do not think it's a wise decision. I thought it should have let it remain open for a while longer. Most of the trends that I've seen, usually there would be a spike. So this is a critical aspect of it. Obviously, they have access to information that I do not have. So I'm not sure what they have made that decision based on. But based on what trends I've been following, I thought it was premature.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
The new school year could see the implementation of a shift system, according to the Minister of Education. George Bain reports.
The new school year could see some tremendous changes, according to Minister of Education Jeffrey Lloyd, who said that we could see segmented school hours as well as virtual schooling piloting the way forward.
Come to September of 2021, we are going to see an entirely different school year. If, as it is right now, these protocols must be observed, and we expect that they will be.
According to Lloyd, plans already underway to implement a shift system and to further utilize virtual learning.
We are looking at a variety of formats, one of which is the shift system. Which way is that going to take? Whether we're going to have some students come in the morning and the others come in the afternoon, and those who come in the morning go to the virtual school, those who come in the afternoon deal with the virtual school in the morning, or some students come one day, some students come another day. All of this obviously has social implications now, because those students who are at home, who now supervises them?
With many persons out of work due to the COVID-19 pandemic, there could also be a rise in attendance at local public schools. However, there are plans to put a cap on the number of students allowed in classrooms, according to Lloyd.
Well, obviously, naturally we don't, for the sake of that student, again, remember I said the benefit is to the student. After a certain number, 30, 32, so on and so forth, it is not only unfair to the student, it's certainly unfair to the teacher because of time, preparation time, and giving the best of our teachers' effort to the student. So yes, absolutely. We have to be ensured that we do the best for our students and to give them the fairest chance for success.
As these discussions continue, Lloyd said he understands that there will be concerns from parents.
Of course, the parents have a responsibility. This is their children, but the society also has a responsibility. So we have to be extremely careful about how we negotiate this. This is why in this discussion, everybody has to be at the table. And how best do we deal with this? Because there's no question.
Reporting for our News, I'm Georgie O'Bain.
Still to come, a former minister vows to keep government accountable, plus a family's emotional plea to police. Stay tuned. Former Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands says while he remains a part of the Free National Movement that is not seeking to rebuke the government, he is vowing to hold the Minnis administration to account. Sands recently called for an inquiry into the handling of the missing persons list after Hurricane Dorian. It has raised questions about his future in the FNM.
Each of these entities need to do their job and do it well. This ain't about friendship. This is not about, that's my boy, that's my girl, everything cool. And I think it's very important for us to understand our roles. The legislature is to be an independent entity. When people walk into that arena, for all intents and purposes, they are equal.
Sands has called for government to reveal everything regarding the list of the missing from Hurricane Dorian, which the National Security Minister says stands at 279. While Sands applauded his former cabinet colleagues for working hard, he said government doesn't always get it right, which makes his job as a backbencher even more important, regardless of friendships.
It's not about rebuke. I'm an FNM, okay? I want my government and my country, but more importantly my country, to thrive, to excel, to do well. There will be things that I absolutely agree with. There will be things that I don't agree with. As a part of the executive, you have agreed, you have sworn an oath, and through Westminster Convention, you do not disagree with a position of the government. Backbenchers are not bound to that.
The family of a man who has been missing for 2 weeks is making an emotional plea for more assistance in finding their loved one.
I cried on the aircraft, just looking down, knowing that I was leaving without him.
46-year-old Desiree Edwards and much of her family were moved to tears as they discussed her son Trevon Edwards, who has been missing on Eleuthera for 2 weeks. Edwards and her husband went to Eleuthera last Monday to help search, but with the exception of a few local officers, the family feels abandoned by the authorities.
He had no help. No help.
Edwards' family says the 25-year-old was last seen by his godfather on June 3rd. Edwards left home shortly after 6 and was carrying a backpack. Police released a missing persons flyer for him on June 5th. The family is begging police to send a team over from CDU to spearhead search efforts.
We need help in finding Trevon. We need help.
Other family members also made emotional pleas for more help in finding Trevon.
What is protocol on a person's life? This is 17 days.
I think they should already carry the dog stand there to see if they can find him, whatever the situation is.
If they could only go and find the body, all we need is the body. If anyone do anything, do away with him. If they could only find the body.
The worried and emotional mother says searching Eleuthera, mostly alone, was an impossible task. Still, she isn't ready to give up.
Just keeping hope alive.
Minister of Transport Renward Wells said he has been meeting with the bus drivers union to establish a way forward in the COVID-19 era. Wells is hopeful that bus drivers will be back in business by July 1st.
We're going to
be looking as to how we can both first get a conversation between the franchise owners and the bus drivers union together, because they're two separate groups. But the government is looking at the beginning of July, allowing the omnibus franchises, the public transit bus service, to be operational.
Bus drivers' pockets took a hit after emergency orders forced them to park their vehicles. They will also see a loss in revenue due to social distancing protocols. Therefore, Wells said passengers could see an increase in bus fare.
They have also put forward a case where they're seeking for government's assistance in that. We're speaking about how we move forward and do that, whether it's an increase in fees. But it's a conversation that we're having right now. It's a very active and dynamic conversation that is going on with the franchising business in the country.
Still to come, how you can stay fit while gyms are closed. Stay tuned. Welcome back. As fitness fanatics await the reopening of local gyms, Kyle Joaquin takes a look at how you can work out on your own in this edition of Fit Friday.
Three, two, one. Awesome.
Oh. After months of being cooped up on the inside, it's back to the outdoors to get in shape for whatever's left of summer. Keno Perigord, personal trainer and owner of Fit Bahama, says with things starting to reopen in the country, hopefully everyone wasn't just sitting around on the couch and doing nothing. And just in case they were, it's not too late to work on a summer body.
3, 4, 5.
And after a bit of stretching, it was time for our workout. First up, lunges.
Nice for the lower body.
Yeah.
Give you strength in the legs, calves, thighs, whatnot. There you go. Good. Nice and easy. Last one. Okay. 1. Good. Good. 5. All right, guys, so like I say, you always try to keep it intense, so you know the traditional squats. You know, that's like woman's best friend. But it's good for both genders. There we go. There we go. 10. Good. That's 20.
Keep going?
Of course.
Okay. Clearly, I'm no longer in the best shape, but hey, good to be back getting a sweat in. Next up, ropes, but with a twist.
We're going to just do a easy jog to the pole, the second pole. And that count as 1. It's like a circuit.
Is that pole all the way over there?
Yeah, all the way over there. The only one all the way over there.
You make it sound like I was right there.
8, 9, 10. Give me 5 big ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's get to the pole and get back.
After doing that for a few times, it was finally on to our last exercise, the hills.
Simply hold the ball and we're going straight up the hill. Let's go to the highest tree right there. Go in. There we go. Get up there, get up there.
By the third sprint up the hill, it was a wrap for me.
There we go. There we go. Good stuff, Carl. That's how we go today.
That's it?
Nice and simple.
Oh, thank God. With the return of Fit Fridays for Our News, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Still to come, a local trainer making morning moves. Stay tuned. A local fitness expert set to debut a family fitness show here on Our TV. Marcellus Hall has the inside track.
And 200. Maybe not quite. However, this may not be for you. Gyms aren't for everybody. But what if we told you there's now a chance for you to work out in the comfort of your own home? There is. Coming your way on Monday, a new show featuring one of our very own fitness experts right here on Channel 12. With a lot of people hesitant to leave their homes, even to exercise, local fitness instructor Cal Quant deciding to bring exercise to your televisions at home. Morning Moves, as it's called, will come your way on Monday, and according to Decal, comes at the perfect time.
Timing is perfect as far as, people being at home, but I think even, beyond when we get back into going out and working regularly, I think that it's still programming that's going to be very much relevant. We know what the state of our nation was pre-COVID. We know that it's most likely not going to be any better post. So, really just providing that education element as well as the regular physical activity element to Bahamians was really, really important for us.
Quan says there's definitely an awareness by Bahamians to be more conscious of their health.
I do think so. I think that people are becoming more, more aware of their health, and I don't know if it's more from an aesthetic point or just overall in general health, but I mean, it's a great thing that people are, wanting to be healthy, wanting to get fit. I think that COVID may have had, some part in that as well. We saw the way that, the virus affected those that were, with these NCDs and obese. So I think that was kind of a wake-up call for a lot of people. If you're not in that range, or you don't want to be in that range, then you want to make sure that you do what you need to do to stay healthy.
And if you're nervous about the intensity level, Quan says there's no need to be concerned.
The programming is designed for all levels. We made sure that the programming was suitable for literally anyone, any age. Kids can join in. You need minimal to no equipment. So some of the equipment we use is stuff that are around your house, like a chair or a towel, but everything else is pretty much body weight. And we also wanted to make sure we included the element of having, these industries and professionals that are in the health, wellness, and fitness field, giving them a platform to also have a space on the show as well.
So as they say, knowing is half the battle. Now that you know, the battle begins with you tuning in on Monday. For Our News, I'm Marcellus Hall.
Thank you for joining us for Our News Tonight. To catch our news on the go, download the Rev Go Play app. On behalf of our entire news team, I'm Jared Higgs. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas.